Okay, modelers, so today we're looking at our Tamiya kit here. This is the 148 scale, the air defence fighter, the Japanese air defence fighter. I'm not even going to pronounce that name. I've heard it pronounced in different ways, so I'm not going to even try because I'll just embarrass myself. But this kit's been around for a while. It's supposed to be a really, really nice kit, guys. Actually, I'll just zoom in a little bit for you here so you can get a bit more of it in the picture. But I just love the look of this aircraft, just a beautiful looking aircraft, and apparently it's one of their most successful aircraft. It was a high altitude aircraft they built, a bit of a reconnaissance aircraft, but obviously it did have its own defences as well. But yeah, just a beautiful looking machine. And the box art is one of those typical Tamiya box arts, just absolutely glorious, just beautiful. The guy who's painted this obviously done it in the nice broad brush strokes, and yeah, just lovely. If you're into art, you'll appreciate stuff like this, and if you're into war models and stuff, you'll appreciate it even more. That you know what he's done here, the way he's done this box art, like with the B-29s flying overhead and so on. But really, really nice, that box art. On the outside here, we've got some like these are one version, obviously. I'm not sure if I'm going to build it in the version or the brown version. I'll probably go with the brown version. I just sort of like the look of the brown version more. But you know, I'll have to see when I build it. Again, on the other side here as well, the different version. And we'll open the box up, guys, and we'll have a look and see what goodies we've got inside here. Again, this is one of those kits I bought quite a while ago, and I can't remember how much I paid for this one, but I did buy it out of a shop. This one wasn't a second-hand kit. Bit of information on the aircraft itself there. First page, got the tools you need, things like that, the basic stuff. And then it gets straight into your cockpit here and your pilot. So obviously there's a pilot supplied with this. Looks like some nice little detail in here, all your colour call outs, but some nice detail in the cockpit. But we'll look at the parts when we go through. And then we've got our pilot going into his cockpit here, like on his seat and so on. Our dash and our separated panels. And then with the fuselage going to have together. So you've got the guy in the back, the guy in the front, you've got your two cockpits in there. It's got a few places where it's saying about opening holes as well, guys, so just be aware. Again, like always, make sure you go through your instructions and make sure you get these things, like if you've got to open these holes up, anything you have to drill and so on. Read through your instructions first, go through them, you know, like little step at a time. Just make sure you're aware of things. If there's anything that you're sort of unsure of, or you think, oh, I might forget that, do a red circle or something with a pencil or a pen to remind you there's something here if you have to take note of. I'll probably do that on that hole there, otherwise I'll forget to clean it out. You've got all your colour call outs for your interior panels here. Colour call outs, so you've got three colours, you've got to mix in quite a few of this. Now we all know with the those who built Japanese aircraft, the interior colours is one of those, it's sort of up to your own thing, a lot of it, because what they used to do, they get it in the airframe colour, like just alloy, and they'd spray on like whatever coatings they had in the field a lot of times. So they had different colours with some of the interiors, and some of it was sort of like a pearly greeny bluey looking colour. But yeah, we'll sort of look at that as we go through it. I'll do a bit of research on the vehicle before I build it. And here we've got our instrument panel. Now this one here is not the decal version, the decal version. It's obviously the details actually built into the plastic, so you have to paint it up yourself, which honestly I do prefer to do it that way, unless it's in like a 30-second scale or something bigger where you can actually pick out the individual dials with decals. But yeah, that looks like it goes straight onto the main fuselage there. Oh no, there's a bit of a panel that goes in there, sorry. But and then we got, let's see if I fold that up so I can get it into frame for you. Up here we've got our landing gear going together. Now landing gear is one of those things you can either do it at this stage, or a lot of times I prefer to put it on further on in the build, like, you know, once I've painted the frame up and that, because once you put these on, normally they're very delicate and you'll end up bumping them, knocking them around trying to paint the thing, and you'll break them off. So I prefer to paint those separate and then put them on one of the last steps. I've got our covers here for our landing gear going in there, top and bottom wing going together, and then up here we've got our tail wings going on, and then a bit of an armament going on, and our doors, our hatches and that for our landing gear. Then up here we've got our props going together with the engine and so on. and it looks like typical Tamiya stuff, like there'll be some nice detail on those, I'm sure. But again, because they're hidden underneath that cowling, you're not going to see a lot of it, so they're superb for what they are. Obviously, if you want to have an open cowling and show off the engine completely, you're going to have to get a bit of a detailed set to do that. But Tamiya normally do a really nice job with that anyway, if you're just going to have it as a basic aircraft. And then we've got some detail going on around the outside, your glass plates and stuff going on, which again, I'll probably mask those up, put them in with white glue, and then take them out, clean them up and put them back in after I painted the vehicle. Props going on there, which props again, they'll be in a rubber insert, I would say. There should be a, well, I don't actually say, but yeah, there is actually, there's a rubber peg there that they insert into, so you can put those on afterwards after you paint it, paint those separate. And then up here we've got our frame, so it's a fairly complex frame, and hopefully we should be able to pose this open or closed. I'll turn this, I don't know, I thought it might be better with it off, but it's better with it on. But they're fairly detailed, and hopefully you should be able to pose these open and closed. I would like to have them open if we've got the detail on there that I'm hoping we've got. I'd like to pose them open. I always like to have canopies open so you can see inside and see the detail inside, otherwise they're normally covered underneath that glass. And then down here we've got our colour callouts for the different versions that we can build. Last page here again, top and bottom, so you've got your top and your bottom views of the aircraft, your colour callouts. A little bit of information on putting your decals on. And first one here we've got on top is our clear parts. Tamiya bags I like because they're just stapled shut, you don't have to cut them open. And I actually have started masking that. Now, I can't remember doing that, it must have been quite a while ago. So I've already masked part of the canopy up, guys. But looking at the glass there, it's a little bit distorted actually. It looks like it's got that bit of a distorted look, so I might actually, I'll peel that off and I'll probably dip these in that glass coat stuff that I've got, or hit it with Future or something like that to clear those up a bit, because they're a little bit distorted. If I've got them open, it probably doesn't matter so much, but yeah, they're not the prettiest sort of finish I've seen. But again, it's an older kit, so you sort of expect little things like that are not quite right. I'll put that in afterwards. I'll leave that aside. Okay, the next bag here. So we've got our fuselage here, and some really nicely recessed panel lines, and that's, you know, for 48 scale, they're really nice. They're not overdone. Very, very nice, guys. They're very fine, and there's plenty on there. There's no riveting on there, but we can add that if we really want to. We can actually do some riveting detail on there, but I'll see when I do the build whether I want to do that. The frames inside, the separation panels, some beautiful detail on those with the wiring stuff built into there. There's our gauges up there, really nice detail again, very, very fine. So they're going to have to be, if you're going to do some dry brushing, it's going to have to be very, very fine. So let's look at that. And the landing gear again. Now I can only see like the panel that runs down, like the flash panel that runs down the outside. I can't see any flashing. Typical Tamiya stuff, just beautifully done. And the attachment points look like they're in sensible places where they can be cleaned up easy without ruining anything. And nose cone there, very, very nice. So just looking at the detail on that landing gear as well, it's quite nice as well. I mean, it's not like some of the modern stuff where it's really, really detailed, but it's quite nice. I can't see any injector pin marks where they shouldn't be. They should all be on this side, I would say, which they are. And one of the great things about Tamiya kits is something that they do. You can see here the injector pin marks are all in areas out here you're not going to see. Sometimes you get kits where the injector pin marks are actually inside this ribbing, and it can be a real pain to clean those out, but not with Tamiya. They've actually done this right, so very, very nice. On the side, we've got our wings here. Just give me a second, open this bag and get these out. Like I say, it's one of those lovely things about Tamiya kits I really, really like. It's only a simple thing, but they actually rivet these together, staple these together so you can take them apart fairly easy. And this is the underside, and again the panel lining's really, really nice. There's no flash. All the attachment points are up on the leading edge here, so, and there's one here that's not actually attached, same on that side, but really, really nice. And again, one of them's in the engine, one's in the middle. You've only got one on either end to clean up, that one there and that one there. It'll have to be cleaned up. Very, very nice. Then we got our top wings here, and part of our engine tail wings. Again, beautiful detail built in there. That the scribing or the panel lines as such are really, really fine. They're really nice for 48 scale. They're just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Actually, I thought they were raised and just looking at that in that light, but they're not. They're quite nice. Again, injector pin marks, all hidden away where you won't see them. And then we've got another bag of goodies here. I'll just quickly open this up. Okay, these are two sprues that are obviously pretty much the same with the engine parts. And the detail on the engine, like I was saying, guys, with Tamiya, absolutely beautiful. All the ribbing and the heads and everything's all there. Very, very nice. Even the pilot's really nicely done. Some lovely detail on that pilot. So again, if you want to have it posed with the pilots in it, really, really nice. Got our 4 big main bolts on the wheels here. The props are nice. There's a little bit of flash. I can see that thin edge around the edge of the props there. It'll have to be cleaned up, but it's not too bad. Just a quick little sand, like not too much. You don't want to distort the shape of the prop, but just clean up that sharp edge on there. But very, very nice. Just love these engines. Like the detail they put in these engines are beautiful. It's a shame a lot of it is going to be hidden back inside the cowling, but again, it's quite nice. And this is pretty much exactly the same sprue, guys, so I won't talk you through that one again. That's pretty much exactly the same sprue as the last one. Then we've got, these are the ones that hold our props in, our little poly tabs there that the props will go into, so you'll be able to turn them around. And here's our decals, and I'll pull them out. Again, it's a stapled bag, so it should be easy enough to get out. And yeah, they definitely look the part, guys. Very, very nice. Looking at from the side here, they're not really raised. You can't see like a big obvious step up. I can feel there's a little bit of a step there, but not anything, you know, major. So they should go on quite nicely, but we'll see when we actually do the build. I've actually got a little bit of yellowing starting on this one here, which is a bit of a shame, but I'll put the ultraviolet light on it later and I'll try and cook that out of there. We actually have got some gauges here to put in our cockpit, but I don't know that I'll use them. I'll have a look at it and see how they go on, if they don't go on very well. And then we've got our seat belts, and they're done in decals as well. So yeah, again, it's one of those things. If you choose to do it that way, I mean, most times I find it comes up not too bad. They're not overly ugly, but yeah, guys, it's one of those things you're gonna have to decide for yourself whether you want to do that or not.